Have you ever wanted to invest in real estate, but maybe you didn't want to manage the properties? Maybe you didn't want the risk of being the person in charge. Well, the real estate agent today, name's Jeff Boller. Jeff has a company. It's called Reeliti, which is Reeliti, and it is a very interesting concept. It's an exceptional idea, if you ask me. If you're somebody who wants to invest in real estate, take advantage of real estate and that investment quality. Along with that, he talks about being a real estate agent. He's been a real estate agent for a long time. He talks about how when you get into real estate, how to get going, and the fact that real estate is a lot about being out there, just living your life, but connecting with people. So please, I think you'll find it interesting. I hope you watch the show today or listen to the show, and I really do appreciate you being here. Thanks so much. Welcome to Indy's Real Estate Gurus, your ultimate guide to the dynamic world of real estate in Indiana. And I'm Rick Whitmer, your hardworking mortgage guy, and I've been in real estate and mortgages for over 24 years.
And I'm Ian Arnold, a loan officer on Rick's Hardworking Mortgage Team, and we are both with Advisors Mortgage. Together, we'll empower you with expert advice, market training, and a successful story from guru realtors and local experts.
Whether you're a homeowner, investor, or pro, join us as we navigate the thriving Indy real estate market.
Now, get ready to unlock the doors of success, one episode at a time.
Jeff Boller. Did I pronounce it right?
Yes.
All right. You know, I don't pronounce most of these things right, so I always have to double check. And you're with Vision One Real Estate.
That's correct.
You know, I wanted to say Realty because we talked about that.
Right.
And you're with Reeliti, which is Reeliti.
Correct.
Which is a really interesting company that you have, which I want to talk about, but not yet.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Hold on.
Yeah, all right. No, I got it.
Perfect. So what we want to do is we want to hear about your life before real estate. Where did you grow up? You know, those kind of things. So we can get an idea of who you are, what you do, why you are who you are.
Sure. So I grew up in Maryland, and our last name was actually pronounced Boller before we came over to the United States. It's German, and then it got changed. And so grew up in Maryland, went to school first couple of years down in Florida, and then last couple of years at the University of South Carolina. So I'm proud to be a South Carolina Gamecock, and that's one of my my big allegiances in life. And so I take pride in that. And then actually I was in the software world forever. So I did an internship while I was at South Carolina with IBM. And I thought I was going to work for IBM for the rest of my life. When I went to graduate, they had their first round of layoffs ever in the history of the company. So I had to pivot, which was good. I mean, it kind of set me up for pivoting in life, which we often have to do.
Yes.
And so started, I did a little bit in insurance, got all my insurance certifications, found out I didn't like that. And at that time, some of the dust had worn off of the IBM announcement, and they had pivoted and started pushing more towards their business partners. And so I actually went to work for an IBM business partner, and that propelled my career in software. And I did that really until I started in real estate and did both. I had 2 full-time jobs for several years. So
you did real estate and insurance
and software
and software.
Yeah.
Okay. You
software.
didn't like insurance. So
I didn't like insurance. Insurance was it was a whole situation, but they put me in a bad situation that I didn't work out really well. So no, I was in software forever, really until about 2016 when I started Vision One.
Okay, so were you in software? Did you develop software? Sell? What did you?
I was in marketing, sales and marketing.
Okay.
The sales and marketing part of it. So worked for some very large software companies, ones that, you would probably know, like SAP and Oracle. And most of it was on the road sales. And that's actually why I decided to get into real estate. I was on the road about 2 or 3 weeks a month, and I had small children, and I was like, this is not going to work. I can't continue to do this if I want to be a dad. And so I called my mom, and, we were talking about it, and I said, I'm really frustrated because I'm never home. And, I feel like I'm, missing out on my kids' childhood. And she said, why don't you get into real estate? And I'm like, I don't know. Why don't I? Right? And she was like, because growing up in Maryland, she had her own brokerage, which is about the same size as my brokerage today. She had about 10, 12 agents. I have 10. And so she said, I can help you. And I was like, okay. And so I did that part-time, and then it kind of graduated into a full-time. And so that's kind of how things evolved.
I got to think, though, that who you worked for, the companies you worked for, the training that you received really helps you in real estate.
Oh, absolutely.
Coming from software.
Absolutely. And I will tell you, the biggest thing that helped me was the negotiation. So obviously you're in sales, you learn to negotiate that. And I dealt with CFOs, CEOs, the C-level people within organizations. And so I learned how to negotiate with them, which helped me to, negotiate on, real estate transactions too. And, it's not too much different because obviously most real estate purchases for most people, it's the single largest financial transaction they'll ever do in their lifetime. So, yeah.
It's never emotional or any of that, is it?
No, never emotional.
So you started Vision One, 2016.
Yes.
And then you were full-time real estate.
Yeah.
At that point.
Yeah.
Then part-time.
Correct.
So then you go from that to you start Reeliti.
Correct.
Which, again, if anybody's watching, you can see it on his hat.
Yes.
And that is a company that I find extremely interesting. So tell us what you do, what that company does.
We started that in 22, August of 22, and it is a business to help business owners invest in real estate through fractional methods. And so fractional investing in real estate has been going on forever. Most people when they think of fractional, they think of timeshares. But this is different. You actually own, a portion of the real estate. And what we have found is there's a lot of people out there, a lot of business owners that would like to diversify and get out of just being in the stock market and actually participating in the real estate market. But one, they don't know anybody. Two, they don't know how to even get started. Three, they don't want to deal with the 3 T's, as we call them, the tenants, the toilets, and the trash. Yeah. And 4, they don't have a ton of money, right? They may have, 20, 50, whatever. But they, in real estate investing, you have to have at least 20 to 25% down.
Right.
So,
yeah. Yeah, it's very expensive to get in as an individual investor, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And so with Reeliti, we solve that. We find the properties. Most of the properties that we find, 90% of them are off market. So we either find them through wholesalers or we wholesale them ourselves. So we find an individual that wants to get rid of their property and they don't want to, do the typical real estate transaction. And then we, take the property and look at it and make sure that it's a good property. We determine if there's any rehab costs. And then once the property, and then we bring the people together to purchase the property. And it could be, we could sell 10 shares or 8 shares or 6 shares. We sold one last year that was 3 shares, right? And so we bring the people together, and then we close on the transaction. Then we find the renter. We put the renter in the house, and then we manage that, that real estate for them. So really, the investor doesn't have to do anything. All they have to do is sign some papers and contribute some money, and then cash in the dividend checks.
Well, that's the hard part.
Yeah,
right.
Cash in the dividend checks.
That's the tough one, is they have to do that.
Yeah.
So when they're looking at doing that, because I think it's a brilliant idea. I know people who do it on apartment buildings, on big buildings, of course. But you're doing on small investment properties, which
single family, multifamily, yes.
Yeah. So 1 to 4 units, or do you go bigger than 4?
We typically, I think our largest one we have done so far is 5. But certainly we would look at that. But when you get into apartments, as you know, there's syndication rules and regulations, and it gets a lot more complicated. So yeah, we try to stay we do college towns. We'll do destination properties. So if 4 families want to get together and purchase a property, we'll do that. And what's great about that is, a lot of families they have some trepidation about doing that because they don't, what if something happens with the relationship? Well, we manage all that. So we're the bad guy. So we say you can't use that week. If you want to use that, we've already got it rented. So we're the bad guy. So don't worry about that. So it makes it a lot easier for that to happen.
Yeah, I have a friend who he wants to buy his first home, and to get more value to buy a more expensive home, I've tried to show him where you can buy it 2, 3, or 4 unit property.
Absolutely.
Right? So to me, I think that's a really good thing to do.
Yes.
So I've tried to show him that because it really increases your buying power. It makes you can get a more expensive place. And his plan all along is to buy a house, live there a year or 2, and then move out and rent it out. So it makes total sense.
Total sense.
But what you're saying is exactly what his biggest concern is. He doesn't want to manage it.
Yeah, he doesn't want to deal with the 3 T's.
Exactly.
And trash.
And he said, he's like, well, I don't know what to do. I said, well, it's really easy. Don't tell anybody you own it and get a management company.
Exactly.
They don't have to know you own the property.
No, absolutely not. Yes, and that's perfect. And that's what a lot of people do. And those property managers, we're really good at it. This is what we do all the time. And so we know what tenants to look for and what tenants to stay away from, right? And we are, one of the things that we do when we buy all our properties is we get a home warranty, right? So that takes care of any of the larger ticket items, like if a hot water heater goes out or the HVAC goes out, we just call the home warranty company. Now, obviously, you have to deal with a home warranty company that's worth something,
right?
But there's the one that we deal with is Armadillo, and they're really good.
Yeah, and that's important because it has to help you when you're selling real estate too, because you know what's important, or at least if you're not actually out there selling anymore, your agents, they know, okay, you want to get a home warranty, you want this home warranty because we know they take care of it because we use it. Right?
Correct. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, makes a big difference. So if somebody wants to get a hold of you and talk to you, I guess about, I don't know, any of this. They want to know about buying real estate. They want to know about investing. I want to hear about that. And then after that, I want to know more about how you decide on how many shares to
investors. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So best way to get in touch with me is Jeff Boller at Reeliti.com.
And Boller is how do you spell Boller?
Boller.
Okay.
So JEFFBOLLER, and it is REELITI. .com, or they can call 317-804-5333, which also spells Jeff. So 804 Jeff That was my number that I came up with when I first got into it.
804 Jeff. See, I can remember
804 Jeff.
804 Jeff.
Yeah.
I don't know why though. It's really hard for me when I'm dialing it to okay, where's the Jeff?
Right. I know. Nowadays, nobody knows how to do that, you know?
That's
Sorry.
yeah, terrible.
Yeah.
And to get a hold of me or Ian, you can give us a call. Best number is, I got to remember this new number. I put a new number on 463-223-9592. It's 463-223-9592. I don't know if you have this, but numbers change all the time for me.
Well, I've had that number, that 804. I've gone out of my way to make sure that I've been able to save that 804 Jeff. Because it was with AT&T, and now I've ported it over to Google Voice, and so hopefully I'll be able to keep that for forever. But
yeah, those are the ones I find troublesome. It's really with my CRMs.
Yeah,
you do a CRM, and then you need a number for the CRM.
Right.
And the CRM says, well, you can't use that number. You got to get a new number. Right. You got to get a new number. And now you got to get everybody used to that. And so it's like, I'm done changing CRM.
Right. Yeah. Yes.
I don't know how, I now have two of them because I'm afraid to get rid of my other one because I still need that number.
Sure.
So for a $3 number, I'm stuck.
Yes. You're spending $50, right? Or whatever. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's get into how you decide.
How do we determine shares? Okay. Yeah. So what we typically, first of all of the real estate that we purchase, we have some criteria that we like to use. One, we like to get at least 10% return on our investment for our investors on an annual basis, right? So they're going to, put in $20,000. We want to make sure they're going to get $2,000 a year, right? And then we want to make sure that there's significant upside on the appreciation. We just bought a house in Hortonville, which is right north of Grand Park, and it's got some huge upside because of what Westfield's doing, and that area is gonna explode.
No, it wasn't Hortonville on Green Acres.
Probably, yeah.
Probably a lot of people never heard of Green Acres.
Well, it is north of Grand Park, so you could say it's Green Acres, right? But in that one, typically what we try to do is we try to make our shares feasible, and so we try to try to keep them in the 20 to 30,000 range. Those shares were 28,000 a share, and you can buy multiple shares. We had one person buy 4 shares, and then we had 4 other individuals purchase just 1 share. So really just depends, but we like to try to keep our share cost in that 20,000 to 30,000 range, because we feel like that's a feasible amount for people. And then the last criteria we use is we really want the rehab to be less than 20% of the overall purchase price. So because our goal is to buy and hold, and we typically just buy and hold for 3 to 5 years, and then we'll sell it, and then we'll rinse and repeat, right? So we want to get people significant upside, but during that time, we want to get them at least, a 10% return on their investment, and then, getting them to the point where they're obsessed with this, right? They want to do it more and more, right? So,
yeah. I understand it, because for me, I do the same thing with cars. So there's a company that you can buy pieces of cars.
Oh, you really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but it's really inexpensive. So, but you can buy as many as you want. But most of them, not all of them, but most of them are at $100 a share.
Okay.
But they may be selling, 150, 200, 300, 400.
Well, and there's obviously net jets, right? There's a lot of people, there's a lot of fractional things out there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think it's a great idea. And what I found is, for me, I've done extremely well if I stay to the cars I know.
Right.
The only car I haven't done well on is a car, it's called a DeHaze. And I always wanted a DeHaze. It's an Italian car, I believe.
Okay.
It was a 30-something. I don't even remember, because I don't like to remember things I lose money on. And I thought, every other one I'd seen, is $3-4 million. Now they were really custom, beautiful art pieces of art.
Okay.
This one was nice, but it wasn't at that level. I knew it wasn't. And I lost money on it, but everything else I was, I buy the cars I know I know they're
You know what the value is. Yep.
and I've done well. And so I think, but I don't have to worry about the management, that you don't do that. You guys, that's the beauty of what you're doing to me.
Right.
You take care of everything.
Right.
And then I still get a great return, and I own real estate, which is very, very safe.
Right. Exactly. And you obviously have to trust that we have the expertise, but I've been in real estate almost 20 years now. And I have a good bit of experience with buying real estate on my own for investment purposes. And that was the impetus for me to get started with this, is that, I always had lots of people approaching me to invest, and I wanted there to be a mechanism that would be easier for them to do that. So,
And you've definitely found one. If you ask me, I think it's a phenomenal
thank you.
idea. I just think,
Have any money?
it's been slow. No, I have, you're always diversified, right?
Sure.
And so real estate is a real important piece to diversify in. And so anybody who's listening, they really should at least talk to you about it. If they have, you got to have about $30,000.
Yes. $30,000. Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And then it's in real estate. I think real estate is a phenomenal investment right now because we are way under the volume of homes that we need.
Right.
I saw a statistic yesterday, and I don't remember the exact numbers, but we have like 40 million more people in the United States, and we have 3 million less homes.
Yes.
Right.
That's why you see all these apartment buildings and homes going up like crazy, because they can't fill the demand.
Right.
Now, our builders, they used to supply about 20% of the inventory, and now they supply about 40. Just because there's not enough people selling their homes, and they're not producing enough homes. And that's why all these apartments are going up, because they got to have some housing for them. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And the builders are still underbuilding.
Yes.
It's not like they're building enough homes. When you look at the numbers, they aren't building enough.
No, and you can only build so many homes, and they're having shortages of supplies and shortages of labor. And so it's a conundrum, right? I mean, it's really unfortunate, but yeah, there needs to be a lot more building than there currently is.
So what is your perfect investor? If somebody's listening and they're like, I wonder if I should do this. And there's probably not one perfect, but what's kind of the basics of somebody to make that decision to at least talk to you and see if it makes sense?
Right. And there's a lot of different ways to get money. I mean, obviously, if you have cash lying around, that's the best way. But, you can do a HELOC, you can do a self-directed IRA. There's a number of different ways to be able to do a loan on your 401k if you wanted to do it. But the best person for us is somebody that's either not invested in real estate. They own their own home. They know enough about real estate to be dangerous, but they want to diversify. They want to put some money other than just in the stock market to insulate them from anything that would happen there. And somebody that either has not done any real estate investing before, or somebody like you talked about who has done real estate investing in the past, but maybe got burned by a bad tenant, or, they found themselves, just working on the house on the weekends instead of taking time with their family. Right. So somebody like that, a business owner that really wants, you don't have to be an accredited investor for for you to work with Reeliti, but somebody that obviously understands what investing is all about. That's the person that we're looking for.
Yeah, and on that, I years ago I owned rental properties, and what I learned is I should never own rental property and be the manager. I can't do it.
Yeah,
it's a terrible. But being able to step back and let somebody else do it who knows what they're doing. It was actually the only time, even though I own the properties, it was the only time I made money. And everybody goes, "Well, you paid 10% to the." Not only did I pay 10%, they did such a good job. I gave them bonuses off and on because I wanted them to keep, happy and motivated.
Sure.
And it just makes total sense. And then the investment quality that we talked about. So if there's somebody out there listening and they want to contact you and find out more about investing in real estate, how would they do that?
Yeah, they just call 317-804-JEFF, or they can email me, or we have a Reeliti page on Facebook. We have a Reeliti page on LinkedIn. We also have every third Thursday of every month, from 5 to 6:30, we have a meeting, a member meeting, and you can come to that meeting and learn more about what it is to be a member. We highlight deals that we're working on. You get to talk with other members that have participated in transactions with us, and so you get a really good feel for what's involved in being an investor with Reeliti. And so that's a great way. We have them. They're in Broad Ripple, same place, Developer Town, which is at 54th and something, 54th and close to Carrollton or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's in Broad Ripple.
Yes, it's a Broad Ripple. Yeah.
Ripple is, right?
Yeah.
It's right there,
Exactly.
Broad Ripple.
Exactly.
Everybody knows where Broad Ripple is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know I used to work at the Vogue, and we love Broad Ripple because of all the different restaurants and things.
Sure.
Even though we live up north, right? But I don't know anybody who doesn't know where Broad Ripple is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to get a hold of myself, Rick Ritma, your hardworking mortgage guy, go to hardworkingmortgageguy.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguy.com, or you can give me a call at this new number. And again, I'm going to have to look it up because otherwise I'll forget it. 463-223-9592. That's 463-223-9592. It is not as easy as your number, 409-JEFF.
Yeah. Oh, no. 804-JEFF.
804.
Yeah, 804-JEFF.
That's right. I didn't put that one on here.
Yeah,
I don't have to let Jeff.
804-JEFF. Yeah.
Either way, Jeff is easy.
Yes, that's right.
Even I can spell that. But now Reeliti, I think that one people need to
Reeliti is tough, and the reason this is how we came up with Reeliti. So, it was like reeling, like, fishing, right? We're always fishing for really good properties, right? And then there was an IT component to it. So if you go out to Reeliti.com, REELITI.com, you'll see where we're trying to go we're trying to produce a back-end application that people can have on their phone so that they can see all the different opportunities. They can see their portfolio at a glance, and they can also, have some networking with other investors where they can reach out and say, "Hey, I've got a kid that's going to Purdue. Is anybody else interested in buying some property in West Lafayette?" Right. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Wow. You do a lot with that.
Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah. There's a lot of things you do. I think anybody who's interested should definitely get a hold of you and go to that meeting. When you said once a month,
third Thursday of every month.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, what a great way to find out about it and be able to talk to other people who've done it.
Yes.
So you get a much
feel comfortable, right? Because it is a trust factor. I get it, and I totally understand. If you're going to plop $20,000 down, you better trust the person that you're going to be plopping $20,000.
Yeah. I'm so bad. Even with the cars. Okay, I only put $100 in the first car.
Right.
I wanted to see if it was real. right? And then the second one, I only did another $100, right?
Right. Right.
Real.
Right. Exactly.
Much money in it.
Yes. Yeah.
'Cause they're not some fly by night just trying to get your money.
Exactly.
But I couldn't meet them.
Right. And exactly. In this way, you can meet us, but you also are a deeded owner of this property. So even if something happens to us, you still own the property. I mean,
Right.
that doesn't go away.
Yeah, you're still the owner.
Correct.
And that's where the value is, right?
That's where the rubber meets the road.
That is where the rubber meets the road is correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's important. So is there anything else on Reeliti that we should talk about?
I don't think so. I mean, I think that, like you said, the best way is for, somebody's interested to come to one of those meetings. We post those meetings on our Facebook and our LinkedIn sites. So it's really easy, and even on our website. So we use Eventbrite. So if you want to come to that meeting, you just go and click on the meeting that you want to attend, and boom, there you go.
And we put our videos and our audio. It goes in a lot of different places, Buzzsprout, and all of the different podcast sites. But we use a website called Indy's Real Estate Gurus. Of course, that's the name of the show.
Exactly.
And if they go there, they can find all your information.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Also. So
That's
so they can go directly to you if they can remember that. If not, they can come to us, and they're still going to be able to get all that information.
Yeah.
Because we want to make sure that they get there. So let's talk about real estate.
Okay.
So you've been a real estate agent for quite some time, and you have a good sized team. You have you said about 10,
Correct.
10 agents on it. So are most of your agents, like, do you bring on new people? Tell me about your team.
Nowadays, the team pretty much runs like clockwork. My number one agent has been with me since the latter part of 2016. And so she's done great work. And most of my agents have come through friends that I know. Some of them are clients that liked what I did with them, that they felt like, hey, I would like to be involved in real estate, and I would like for you to teach me, right? So I've done that several times. And then like my number one agent, she is now developing a team. And so she has 4 people underneath her. And so a lot of times people will approach me, clients, friends, and they'll say, I'd like to get started in real estate. Would you be willing to help me? Absolutely. And so I'm a giver. So I like to give back. I'm involved in the Lions Club, and, I've been involved in the Rotary, and do a lot of philanthropic things.
There you go. I couldn't have pronounced it either. I wasn't even going to help you out.
And so I like to give. I feel like that's what we're here to do. And so, anybody that's, if they're interested in talking about real estate, I love to talk about real estate.
So the reason I was asking that is I think it's important. Real estate is hard to get going in for a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
Right. So it's starting out, it's a struggle. And sometimes I think we forget about the basics. So how would you recommend somebody who's just getting into real estate, how do they introduce themselves as a real estate agent?
Sure. So the biggest thing I think for people, and I think this is their biggest fear to overcome, is you have to have a sphere. And so you have to have a network of people, and it can be your family, should be family, friends, business cohorts. When I first got started, I did it part-time. So I told my boss that I was going to get my real estate license, and that I was going to do it part-time, and that it wouldn't affect my job at work, that if I had to do something during the day, I would do it at lunch. But I would make up any time, and, he trusted that I would do that. And most of the time was spent after 5, right? And so, or on the weekends, which That's typically when real estate is transacted, right? There's not a whole lot of people that can do stuff in that 8 to 5 time frame because they're working, right? So that's why most of the stuff gets done after hours and on the weekends. So I'd say, one, you got to be open to that, right? So if you're not willing to work nights and weekends to get started, then this is probably not the right opportunity for you. Because I have people reach out to me, I have a hard stop now of 10 o'clock, but I'll still text people. I just won't take any calls anymore. Just because you got to set some boundaries, right?
You have a life.
We have a life.
Yeah.
That is correct. So, but my wife, oh my gosh, she's a saint because she knows there's been plenty of times when, dinner has been interrupted. One time I left dinner, we were out to dinner and I told her I had to go, and she still won't forgive me for that. But I had to write up a contract and it had to be done then because in real estate, it's timely. Things have to be done very quickly. So that's the other thing I would tell people is, if you're not willing to do things when your clients want you to do them, then this is not the job for you. Because when somebody wants a house, there are probably 2 other or 3 other, or who knows nowadays, other people that want that same house. You've got to be quick. You've got to be ready to do whatever it takes in order to make sure they get the house. So you have to have that customer, that service, right? Mentality of how can I serve you, right? So that, and then I would say, really it's all about hustle. You got to network. You've got to be talking about real estate with as many people as you possibly can. I remember my first client worked for Tuckman's Cleaners. Okay, she was I would bring in my shirts and suits and stuff. That's when we, back in 2005, we were still doing,
Just like you're dressed today.
yeah, just like I'm dressed today. And I would bring those in, and we, got to have a relationship. And, one day we were just talking, and she mentioned the fact that she was in the Providence, which is right off of Old Meridian. She said, I got to get out of this apartment. I need to get a house. And I'm like, well, hey, I'm a realtor. I'd love to help you. And so she was my first client, but you have to constantly be talking. And one of the things that I started out with Coldwell Banker, and Craig Kaiser, and I will never forget, told me, whenever you're out and you pay for something, leave a card, right? Or talk to those people because they're providing something to you, right? And you're paying for it. So you have the right to ask them for something.
Yeah, you definitely do. But I want to comment on a couple of things. Number one, I think one of the beauties of real estate is you can do real estate living your life, which is what you did. Yes, you have to work all the time. There is no question. It's a lot of work, and it takes a lot. But you can do it living your life. When you go pick up your laundry, there could be a customer right there.
Right.
You go to your kids' games, there's customers there.
Yes.
You go anywhere you go to the Indianapolis 500, there's 200,000,
right.
500,000 people there you can
right.
to.
Right.
There's just, that's one of the big things. And then the other one, this is more, I call it a pet peeve, but it's not really a pet peeve. It's just one of those things I really am getting to the point where I really, really want people to understand this. And that is, the time to get pre-approved is not an hour before you need the pre-approval letter. The way to get a pre-approved is to do it ahead of time.
Yes.
Be prepared because here's what happens. You know better than I probably, but you find a house. You think, no, we're just looking. We're not going to find anything. You walk in, you find the house. Now you want to make an offer.
Right.
Okay. If everything's perfect, a basic pre-approval letter can be done very quickly.
Yes.
But if there's anything out of the ordinary,
Correct.
anything, it
Right.
can create a problem.
Could be child support, could be how, where you get your income from. It could be a number of different things, right? It could be a debt that you didn't know about that got erroneously put on your report.
Yeah. Which is 50% of credit reports have erroneous information.
Absolutely.
But it could be they're self-employed.
Yeah.
Okay. Self-employed, if you're self-employed, we can finance you. Okay. It's just more difficult. That's all it is. But even if you're, you work at Lilly and and you have all this money in the bank and you can be pre-qualified. Okay. That's all great. But if you give me time, I can have a fully underwritten pre-approval going out.
Which is gold.
I have been able to beat cash buyers because
By having that. Yeah.
Yes.
Because it's basically the same, right? I mean, sellers don't care where the money's coming from. They don't care that you have cash. At the end of the day, they're going to get the same amount of money, whether it's cash or it's mortgaged.
That's right.
They
get the same money.
Now, if you can close in 2 to 3 weeks, which you can, if you have a pre-approval that has already been underwritten, you can close in 2 to 3 weeks, which is the same way as cash, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's how you compete with it.
That's how you compete. And usually when somebody's making an offer that's not cash, they're financing it. The person paying cash thinks they can get it for a little better price because they're paying cash.
Right. No,
And
it doesn't work that way.
And if you have a pre-approved, underwritten pre-approval, and it just amazes me how hard it is to get, and I realize it takes a little bit more effort from the buyer, right?
Sure.
They have to get it doesn't really take any more effort. It just takes more effort now instead of later.
Right.
Because as soon as you have a purchase agreement, I need all that information.
Right. Well, and the other thing, too, that you failed to mention is that a lot of cash buyers feel like they should, that because they're cash, they don't have to make as big of an offer, right?
Yeah.
So what they typically will want to do is they'll want to either get it for less or they'll not want to compete as much. And so that puts them at a disadvantage, in my opinion, right? Because, like you said, the seller doesn't care,
right? And that's basically how we've won. There's a little bit more to my whole process and system, but that's how you win. Is you get them a pre-approved, underwritten pre-approval. Make sure the listing agent knows it's an underwritten pre-approval,
right?
And the only thing we have to have back is we have to have a purchase agreement we can accept, an appraisal, and title,
right?
And we close. So you can close in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Now, appraisers are fast,
Right. Right. And if you're looking at a neighborhood where there's plenty of comps, the appraisals doesn't matter. And sometimes I know you can get the appraisal waived in certain conditions.
Yeah. Let me explain that too, because people totally misunderstand that. The appraisal waiver comes from Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, okay, the conventional lenders.
Right.
It doesn't come from Advisors Mortgage Group,
right,
or Chase, or they can't make that decision. If one lender gets it, they're all going to get it. Right. And it tends to be, first of all, you have to have a property address. So you can't do you can't know if you got a appraisal waiver until you actually have a property.
Sure.
You have a estimated purchase price, because if that changes, you can lose your waiver.
Okay.
You have to have credit, right? You have to have everything. Now, you don't have to have a purchase agreement, but you have to have enough that you can run it through and it can give you that appraisal waiver. Now, I will tell you, if you're 5% down, 10% down, 15% down, the chances of getting an appraisal waiver are slim.
Okay.
It happens, but it's slim.
Right.
If you're buying an investment property, the chances of getting an appraisal waiver are slim.
Right.
It happens, but it's not very likely.
Right.
So and believe me, we love it because we don't have to deal with an appraisal.
Yes.
The real estate agents love it.
Yeah.
The consumer loves it. The seller everybody loves it when we get it, and we all want it. Unfortunately, it's not like I can say, well, let's just waive this appraisal.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's a little more involved.
Right.
But I shouldn't get so into it. But I really,
No, it's good to, I think that's good for people to know. I mean, obviously, because I think there's a lot of people out there that are touting it, and certainly it's good to know the background, right? The details of it. So
now I think it's critical, and I think that it's one of those things. The more we can educate people, I'm like you. I like to give. I like to make sure people know. I don't tell people what to do.
right.
I educate them, and then I let them make a decision based on, here's your options. This is what each option means.
I know, and I do the same thing. There's some clients that want me to tell them what to do, and I will not do that.
Yeah.
You know, I will tell them this is what I would do if it were me, but you know, you're not me. So yeah.
Well, without Ian, I have been remiss because I missed the two biggest questions we ask. So I'm going to at least ask the question of the week.
Okay.
All right. The question of the week, same question every week. And it's, what was your first car?
Okay. First car. So I had a 67 Chevy Malibu. And I love that car. Got it. Had an Impala 450 engine that I was gonna put in it.
Okay.
It had a 428 or no, 328.
Okay.
328. And so I was gonna put, or 318, maybe a 318. What is a Chevy? What is a
Chevy?
well,
They had 302. They had the 305.
yeah.
They did a lot of 305s. They had 350s. 350 was
Yeah, for me, and now I think it was the Impala that had the 350. So maybe, I can't remember. It was a 6-cylinder that was.
Oh, it was a 6.
Yes.
I don't know the 6s.
Yeah, and I was going to replace it with a 3.
I'm
Anyway,
a 8 guy.
oh my God. Well, and so I had this Impala, and it had a 350, and we had bought it junk, and my pops was helping me to get it. We broke it down. It was really good learning lesson for me. Stripped it all completely down, and then did all the, put it back together. I had that car for 10 days, and wound up going through an intersection, had the green light, and one of my friends ran the red light coming the opposite way, and I slammed right into him and totaled that car. I was so sad.
Still a friend. He would have been with me.
That was
that.
He was gone. He was done as a friend. Oh my gosh! Doug Mallory. I remember him to this day. I was young, yanked him out of the car. Was like, wanted to just beat the crap out of him, but it was just such a sad thing.
Yeah, but you can't do that. You want to, but
You can. Yeah.
So 67 Malibu. What a great car.
It was a great car.
Yeah, that's a great car.
Yeah.
So tell us again, one last time, not only how to get a hold of you, but who should contact you on you, because you have two different companies. Who should contact you, and what's the best way?
Well, agents always can contact me, at Vision One Real Estate. And so same number, 317-804-JEFF. And we actually need those agents for Reeliti. So one of the things that we do at Reeliti is we have property acquisition and disposition managers, and those are the people that actually go out to the house and look at it and make sure, hey, this is going to look at the area, do all the research to make sure this is a valuable, this is a property that will appreciate, right? Because ultimately there's got to be some upside, right? We don't want to buy, don't get me wrong, a property in Brookside right? Where the appreciation is going to be fairly low or non-existent, right? We want to buy something where there's a good bit of upside. So we need property acquisition disposition managers. We call them advisors, portfolio advisors. We need them on both the Reeliti side, and then we need agents on the Vision One real estate side. And you can actually, as an agent, do both, right? So it makes sense. And then on Reeliti, you can go out to our website, REELITI.com on the hat.
Yeah.
And contact us that way. Or, same thing, 317-804-Jeff.
It took me this entire show looking at your hat to realize the easiest way for me to remember it's real, REEL.
Yes.
ITI.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's really actually very simple, but it didn't dawn on me until you were doing it. It's like, well, yeah, it's real.
Yeah.
E.
Yeah.
And that E is I. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's really pretty simple.
Yeah.
And to get a hold of me, Rick Whitney, your hardworking mortgage guy, go to hardworkingmortgageguy.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguy.com. Or you can give me a call. I guess I should put the camera on me. Yeah. Or you can give me a call. And again, I'm going to have to I should have left the camera on you. 463-223-9592, 463-223-9592. That is a Carmel number. So the new exchange. And these new
463
is that's a Carmel exchange now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I know. And I hated it, but it's the only number I could get. It's a Carmel exchange.
Wow. That's pretty cool, though. I mean, I didn't know that they were branching out like that.
They're
just do Carmel
17s. Yes. Well, that's what it said when I got it. It said Carmel Exchange.
Interesting.
I have another number, and it's actually 317. But whenever anybody calls, it's a Franklin. Indy.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
Jeff, thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you, Rick. I appreciate the opportunity. It's been awesome.
It's and I know my video's not been that great because this is the first time I've run it without Ian in a long time, so I'm not doing very well. But you have really interesting. I love your two businesses, and I love really the investment piece is really kind of cool. It is cool.
Yeah.
The way you do that. So again, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Blank Molson was with you for one. We focus on Molson with it will find big May and Armit and the North in 18 the night. I thought it's night. Equal housing opportunity. Some restrictions apply.